แต่หนูไม่ได้ถูกเองนะถูกหนูว่าซื้อพี่หนูไม่ถูกหนูซื้ออะไรก็ไม่รู้งดตัวไปหมด
What's up, guys? How's it going? Good afternoon. It's just after lunchtime. I've come into town. I got a few errands to run. I'm actually in the market, and it's a bit pungy in here. A lot less people nowadays, but all's well. Let me just go somewhere where it's just a little bit quieter so I can talk to you. What's up, guys? How's it going? Sorry, I didn't stay in town. I was in that fruit area. It was really nice there, looking at the fruits and stuff. I was going to talk to you, but it got too noisy, so I thought I'll just cross the street. Then lots of scooters come and people all around. I thought I'll go behind where my truck was and talk to you there a little bit, but then it's super hot back there, so I thought I'll wait till I get home, and here I am in the shade. Much cooler here than it is in town, which is understandable. So what's been happening at your end? Not a lot happening here, just still drying out. The mosquitoes are starting to go away now, the butterflies are coming out. I got a couple of things I'd like to chat to you about, if that's okay. One thing that I wanted to talk to you about is back in the days of the green clothes, I was in Germany, and my father came to visit, and I said to him, would you like to see Bergen-Belsen? And for those who know what Bergen-Belsen is, it's a concentration camp where Anne Frank passed. So from where I was, the first time I was there, it's about a 4-hour drive away. So we went on up, and I took him to go there. And he was all like, matter of fact, a little bit like, not sure. And I told him, when you get there, in the parking area, it'll be a beautiful day, birds singing, sun shining, warm, everything's nice. When you walk in, you get just past the main gates, and then it's chilly and no birds. And he said, oh, I don't believe that. I say, okay. So about an hour or so later, whatever, we get there, walk inside, and what happened? He says, it's cold in here. Wonder why that is. So anyway, the whole time I was in Germany, I was, you see things that remind you, of course, of the Second World War and what Hitler was doing and stuff like that. And then I went to Dachau, and then the second time, that's down near Munich, went and looked at that. That was a gut turner. And then I went to, the second time I went back to Germany, I was about 20 minutes from where Anne Frank passed. I was in another camp just about 20 minutes away. So, I read Anne Frank's book. I've been to her house in Amsterdam, and I went to Bergen-Belsen. But, over the years, I've read a lot and listened to so many different stories about what happened. And I had this thought all the time. Why didn't people realize what was going on? And hide or something? And all these years I've never heard of anybody who did that. And then just the other day I was listening to something about a guy, he was 11 years old, so he was probably born around, so 33, he's probably born 34, something like that, because of the story. So he around that age anyway. So he him and his family, his mother and father and him, they got moved from their house. They were in Hungary, got moved from their house to what they call the Ghetto. And it was some rundown houses with barbed wire wrapped around them. And they made 5 or 6 families stay in each house. Some of them had no windows and stuff, no food, just waiting. And then one night his dad said, we're leaving. So what they did is they cut a hole in the wire, and he pushed the sun through. Somebody passed away. And pushed his son through and told him to run, and we'll catch you up. Anyway, later on they met up, and so he told this long story, and in the end they went to this farm, and the son at the farm was taking the cows to the field, and he got up and started talking to the young boy, and the young boy took him back to the farmhouse, and they spoke to the dad, and dad put so his mom and dad and the 11-year-old boy put him up in the barn, and they stayed in this barn, never came out for 17 months. 17 months they lived upstairs in the hayloft and just stayed there for 17 months. So what's the moral of the story? He had the notion to think, to get up and do something and be proactive, because everybody else in his village all wound up getting on the train to Auschwitz, and you know what happened at Auschwitz, right? So that's the temple across there. Somebody passed away. So that was always in my mind, to why didn't somebody do something? Why didn't somebody understand what was happening? But they weren't told that they were going to go to Auschwitz. They were told to do this and to do that, and everybody just did what they were told. You know, they didn't want to get shot, they didn't want to go to jail, they didn't want to pay any fines. So, now here's a controversial bit. So, I know everybody, 50% of you are going to say I'm a loon. Things are happening in different parts of the world, I'm not saying anything more than that, where people are being highly controlled, out of control. I know, like in, they say they're closing the gyms down in London, and well, all across the UK, closing the gyms down. But they say that the chances of catching anything in the gym is like 1 point something %. But all the gyms have to close, all this has to close, and that has to close. And I watched a little documentary the other day about the tourist industry here in Thailand, and the whole beaches, all the shops, all the different things closed down. Everything's closed. All these people have lost their livelihoods. Hotels are closing. Jan told me this morning that big major hotels in Bangkok are up for sale because nobody's staying in them. And today I went to the office where that you can buy money from different, you know, exchange money. I wanted to exchange some money today, and I went to a couple of the banks, and the bank says nobody's carrying money anymore because nobody's coming to exchange it. And then I went to an exchange office in the mall that's still there's one left in the mall, and I asked for some dollars. We don't have any. I'm like, what? You don't have dollars? And then it started to click. Ah, you don't have dollars because there's no tourists. And then I knew of another one inside of town, not in the mall, in town. So I drove over there, went into this little small mall where this exchange thing is, and it shut down. The room is actually like a cashier room. Where they were is shut down. So why? Because nobody needs money, nobody's going anywhere, nobody's coming in. So everything is changing. So I'm going to end it there. And the people who are enlightened or on the way to enlightenment or smart enough to understand what I've said, we can put 1 and 1 together and come out as 2. And but I know I'm going to get some weird, crazy comments, but feel free, do as you want. But believe and understand whatever it is you want to understand. But I have a friend in Andy in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, who sends me little pieces of information of what's going on, and to watch what's happening there is, you know, if you watch any of the old films of Second World War about how the Gestapo's moving the streets and controlling people, it's not much different. And you know, I kept having this feeling for a few days, maybe a week to 10 days. I thought, something's going on. This really clicked in my noodle. But I didn't want to talk about it because I thought, no, you're crazy. Nobody's going to believe you. Well, this morning I phoned somebody I know in the US, and we spoke, and I said, do you think I'm crazy? He says, not at all. And a couple of nights ago, I actually heard somebody mention the same thing. It was like somebody commenting on the news on YouTube, right? And they said the same thing I just said. So, what is my point? Well, my point is, back to what I was saying before. You know, do you have some food put away? Do you have some finances? What about finances? How's that going to work? And you know, I talked about Bitcoin before, and I didn't really understand it, Ethereum and all these different ones. But I stopped for a couple of weeks looking into it because it got too confusing. Well, last few days I started looking at it again, and now I understand a lot more. So I'm just going to stay looking at Bitcoin and learning it. And then you need a digital watch, a digital wallet. So I found out there's a thing called Ledger S, so I found that out. So you can, if you buy Bitcoin, then you can put it in your digital wallet, which is secured and so on. You know, when you have money in the bank keeps it secure. Well, how do you keep Bitcoin secure? And do you know something? You can do this yourself. Just do a search, say how much, you know, what is Bitcoin worth? And if you look in Thailand, you get the BAT one. So at the beginning of, I think it was around the 5th of this month in Thailand, and I'm sure it's tied to the Bitcoin worldwide because it's not a country thing. What was it, 370,000 or 350,000, something like that, baht for one Bitcoin. And now it's 420,000. So it's gone up. I think, I can't remember now, 50 to 70,000 baht. It's gone up in less than a month. So I was listening to some of the, there was a CEO in America. He had, somebody's biting my legs. I was listening to a CEO from America, and he had 50,000, he was being interviewed, he had 50,000, $500 million, and he didn't know what to do with it. How was he going to invest it? So he didn't want to put it in the banks because the way the economy is going, banks are getting weaker, and the interest rates on it, you're actually losing money because the interest rate on the money is like 0.2%, something like that, and inflation is whatever. So if you leave it over a period of a month or a year, you know, you've put 500 million in and take it out at the end of the year, how much have you lost? You know, you think, oh, for $1, it's like a couple of cents. Well, times that by 500 million, you've lost, you know, maybe you lose $100,000 or something. I don't know, I didn't do any figures. So that's why I've been looking at Bitcoin. And there's a British guy I was watching last night, and he says, the lady who was interviewing him, she says, I know before you had under 50% Bitcoin. He says, now I have over 70% Bitcoin, you know, in his portfolio. So he's moving it out of gold into Bitcoin. And the reason for that is, you know, I thought this a long time ago, before I thought of buying gold, was gold is being held back. And sure enough, I was right. A couple big institutions in America got fined $1 million something each for manipulating the precious metals market. I'm like, so they reckon gold should be worth around $8 to $9,000 an ounce, whereas it's only worth, was it 2,000 something now? Because it's been held back. It's been manipulated to be held back. But the thing with Bitcoin is you don't hold it back because it's not fixed to anybody. So a lot of the people who, the people who have big money, hundreds of millions of dollars are and stuff, they're all putting it into Bitcoin. So I just got a little bit more research to do to make myself feel comfortable, and then that's what I'm going to start to do. I'm going to start to buy the Bitcoin for sure. But I'm not buying it to make money. I'm buying it to keep it safe. Because I heard about this bail-in thing where if the bank's going sour, it can actually take your money as a survival mechanism. And there's a law, and I know in Britain they have is it FIS? In Britain they have a thing called FISC or something, where £85,000 is guaranteed by the government. But if the bank has a bail-in or the economy goes sour, how do you get that money back out? How long does it take? Do you have to wait a couple years? So I'm thinking, and how much interest are you making in the bank? So that's why I'm thinking, But anyway, I talked about all that. But also, I'm thinking, next month I'm going to be 64. So the other day, I've been doing that turmeric milk thing, and I can tell you, my intestines are 100% better. 100%. I feel so much better, and I visit the little room every day, whereas before it could be 3 or 4 days in between. And I had that since I was about 20 some years old, so for almost 40 years I've been suffering with that. And I put a teaspoon of turmeric in a cup of milk. I drink that once a day, and I go every day now. I'm really pleased with that. So the other day, believe it or not, I started doing press-ups and pull-ups. Well, I didn't actually do a pull-up, hands up. I hung by the bar and stretched my back, and boy did it need stretching. So it was just a little sore, but my chest wasn't sore, but my traps were sore after the press-up. So I think tomorrow I can have another go, and then another go, and then just get... So I'm thinking of health and fitness, even at my age, and stay mentally strong, stay physically strong, get your things in order, be awake, learn what's going on. You can tell me, like I said before, there's a food shortage coming, and certain people said to me, oh, there's no food shortage coming. I'm like, dude, I didn't just make this stuff up. I hear it and then I research it. So I say all these things, one, to share with you. Please do your own research. Okay? I say that as a friend because I just think to myself, I don't want people to get caught out. If it all hits the fan and you can't get your money and you can't get food, then what? If you're already unhealthy and something happens, you got to stay healthy, stay alert, okay? On that note, buckets of blessings, rivers of peace, joy, and kindness. All the very best. See you later.